us. We collaborate with educators from Hawaii to New York and beyond. So it's always good to know where you hail, and we like to make sure this is in a good sweet spot. So not too early for the West Coasters and not too late for our folks on the East Coast. And we will start in just a moment.
Some Philadelphia, we have Mexico, Montana, Cape Cod, Central California, all over the country here today, Jane.
Nice. That is so exciting. I mean, think about all of these thoughtful educators spending their holiday week with us to think about how to support students. It's just very encouraging and heartening. So thank you so much for joining us, everybody. All right. I think we're ready to get started, shall we? All right.
Jane, it looks good. We have 200 and counting joining right now.
Okay, maybe we'll give it one more minute since we've got another few seconds. We'll wait for some folks. All right. Let's get started. So welcome everybody from, well, apparently all over the world. So thank you so much for joining us this evening for Thrively's Thought Leaders and Change Agents series. And that's who you are. You are our thought leaders. You are the change agents in the field. And we're here to work with you as you make really important things happen for young people all over the world. And we are your hosts. I'm Jane Patterson and my colleague.
Joe Pelding here, and I'm just going to monitor the chat and support Jane here today. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe. All right, let's get started. Oops. Let's go back to here. All right. So our outcomes for today are that you're going to discover how Thrively can support you in helping students and educators, of course, calm the central nervous system. And we're also going to talk today about how Thrively can help empower your students to use their strengths during times of challenge. And thirdly, we'll look at how we can help our students articulate their feelings. It's so important as we talk about emotional intelligence and really that practice of being able to control our emotions and stay calm when things overwhelm us. For our young people, this is so critical, and we'll talk about how students can utilize their strengths in order to do that. And let's take a quick look first at who we are. So we're Thrively, and we are your partners in this next generation of education. And there are 5 key premises that we hold. And that is, one is that we know all of our students, and they know when they're known, right, that they are appreciated, they have talents, they add value to the learning environment. That is our core premise in Thrively, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. And also, we're here to support you, and as you support your students to build their passions, discover what they're passionate about, develop skills that can support them, whether those are social skills they can use in social emotional learning or in academic learning. And then also we're here to engage our young people in authentic learning experiences. And then ultimately, why we're all in this room together is that we hold the value of empowering our young people to be fully agentive in their lives, to have the resources, the internal resources that they need in order to be ready for life, both in and beyond school. So welcome everyone to Thrively, and I know we're in good company here tonight. All right, so the core premise of Thrively is that we all come to the teaching and learning environment with strengths, with assets already. And once we understand what those assets are, we can refer to them, leverage them again and again when times get difficult for us. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in the platform. And these are sort of our go-to strengths during difficult times, our core operating system, and really the core premise here. So let's first take a look at what this looks like for our young people. So I'm going to introduce you to Andrew. He could not be more adorable. So here's Andrew. Watch out, if I see you, then I'll ask if I can take a picture of you. So Andrew is a photographer, but Andrew is also a person who has a wealth of assets and resources to bring to any kind of trying situation. After about 40 minutes of having taken the Thrively Strengths Assessment, Andrew's strengths profile is populated in his portfolio. So Andrew knows that when he's got a challenge, he can bring focus, skill, his analytical skills, creative thinking, academic skills, and memory to any problem. There are 23 strengths in Thrively. Everybody has all 23, but these are Andrew's top 5. They're his core operating system. So we all have them. And I'm going to encourage you all in a minute to take the strengths assessment yourselves. So when Andrew can hover over each of these to see what those mean. So if he's struggling with something, he can say, okay, that's right. I've got focus. How do I utilize that? Take a breath, stay calm. Let's utilize my skill of focus. But look at this one right here. It says, hey, Andrew, you're a creative mind. And if there's a problem to be solved, you have good ideas and the ability to find good workable solutions. So what is that internal capacity that each young person brings to any of the challenges that they may be facing? So he'll know that, and you'll know it too. So within a few minutes of your students having taken the strengths assessment, you can look across your learning organization or a class, however it is you're going to look at these data. But look here, as we look at the 23 strengths in Thrively, we know that some of our students are bringing flexibility to their problem solving. Some are bringing resilience or analytical skills, right? Focus or memory. So as we work with our young people to say, hey, we all depend upon one another. We're a community here, right? We strengthen our community bonds when we know that we each bring these strengths to the table. They are the fabric of our community, the warp and the weft that make that fabric really strong. But we can say, hey, flexibility is a key strength, especially now, as we're all aware, right? So we can look at each one of these and share these with our learners to say, this is how, you solve problems in one way. The person sitting next to you solves them perhaps in a different way. But I can click here. So let's look at resilience. So we understand what that is. For each one of these, we have a lesson in Thrively that's hyperlinked to every single strength. So you can empower your entire classroom, your entire school, your district, right, by saying we all start here with strengths. Now let's take a look at, for instance, resilience. So you may have resilience as a top strength as an educator, but look at this. There are 25 other people in your room who possess that strength as well. So how do we utilize that now? How do we take that breath, stay calm when things are overwhelming for us? How might we use our resilience? Hey, Abigail, how do you use resilience in your life? So we've got now not just one educator, but now 26. The teacher in the room and 25 other people who have this skill. For when you look at your roster in Thrively, you're going to see all these beautiful faces, or they might be their emojis. When I click on here, if I'm going to have a one-on-one conference with Anna, right? If she's feeling overwhelmed, she doesn't seem to be managing her emotions very well, I can just click here and before she comes up to my desk, and I can go, right, Anna. She's got focus, she's analytical, flexible. So I can say, Hannah, let's look at your strengths. How can we utilize these to address this challenge that you're having? Let's take a minute and reflect here. So you have access, educators, at your fingertips to all of these strengths whenever needed for those one-on-one conferences. You can also share these with the other folks in your building. So your deans, your administrative staff, anybody in the building who could be a resource for that student. They should know, everyone in your campus should know all the students, their faces, their names, their faces, their strengths, so that when we find somebody in the hall, maybe a little despondent about something, we know a little bit more about them. So you have access to this just at your fingertips. So strengths is where we start. And imagine this is you. So here's Jean. She's our educator, but this is you. You can join Thrive. We're going to show you how to do that in just a minute, and take the strengths assessment yourself. Because first of all, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to take. You'll see what the student experience is, and you'll look at those go-to strengths. And I can tell you personally, I look at mine, right? When things are feeling a little bit rough, I'll go back and say, oh, that's right, Jane. You have this strength that's going to, help you through this particular challenge. So this works for every single one of us. So let's take a look. I'm going to go back to the slide deck, and I'm going to share with you
Jane, do you mind stop sharing your screen for a second, then reload it to see, because it's a little bit blurry on our end.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And then I know you're going to get into one of the questions in the comment is just getting into the brain breaks. And I know you're coming up close to that.
We're doing that right now. Yeah. Is that working, Joe?
Yeah, it's still a little bit blurry, but yeah, thanks. Keep going. There you go.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about brain breaks, right? So we know that our students need these opportunities, right, to calm their nervous system. We're going to talk about Thrively brain breaks, but take a look at this quote for just a moment. And all of you are quite aware of this by now, that stress and trauma can trigger that response in the amygdala, that fight, flight, or freeze mode, kind of hijacking the rest of the brain, so that it becomes completely focused on that perceived threat. And the students then, or we all, can lose that ability to really think clearly through a challenge. So let's take a look, and this comes from Edutopia. So we will look at the brain breaks in Thrively in just a moment. All right, so before we do, and Joe, make sure that you guys can hear this, this video play, but let's take a look at the science behind it and then the resources in Thrively.
Yeah, no audio right now, Jane.
Okay.
Aren't just downtime. The research shows that well-timed breaks can increase student productivity, creativity, and social skills. In fact, a groundbreaking 2012 study using brain scans revealed that the brain isn't actually at rest when we take breaks. Instead, it's in default mode, a state where the brain works on other tasks crucial to learning, like making sense of complex information, consolidating memories, and finding novel connections. Without breaks, we simply don't learn as well. So, make them frequent. Breaks allow students of all ages to regain focus and are especially important for very young students. One study showed that for elementary kids, several 10-minute lessons were far more effective than fewer 30-minute ones. Plan for repeated pauses throughout the day, fewer as kids get older, and give students time to process their learning. Make them active. Integrating physical activity into your breaks can boost moods, reboot motivation, and improve cognitive functioning. If you can, make time in the day for several quick exercise or movement breaks to help students reset. Make them social. Breaks don't have to be solitary or structured. Giving students time to interact, for example, during an unstructured recess or a planned game, can improve crucial social skills like conflict resolution, collaboration, and group problem solving. Make them creative. Breaks allow kids to use their imagination. Research shows that unstructured play stimulates curiosity and creative thinking. A bonus, the exercise kids get during recess boosts neural connectivity and promotes growth in the hippocampus, the center of learning and memory.
All right, so let's take a look at a couple brain breaks in Thrively. All right, so you only need a couple of, you need a piece of paper. You'll need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil today, and your imagination. So we're actually going to engage in a couple of brain breaks. Then I'm going to share where those resources live in Thrively. And so let's go ahead and take a look and experience one of the brain breaks in the platform. All right. So we'll look at breathing ball, breathe. So you may not have a breathing ball, but you don't need one. So this is one of the brain breaks that is recommended for any age group. So let's take a look and let's do this ourselves for just a minute.
Hi friends, it's Yoga Jessie here. Today I wanted to talk with you about my breathing ball. A breathing ball gets big and small, just like the lungs inside of our body. When you breathe in, like you're smelling a flower, your lungs fill with air. And when you breathe out, like you're blowing out a candle, they empty. Let's try 3 together. Do you notice how quiet it got? Slow, deep breaths can help you to calm your body. Sometimes we have big feelings like frustrated or mad or scared or nervous. I know I have those feelings. And what helps me is to do some breathing ball breaths. Now, my breathing ball is pretty fun to have around, but it doesn't fit in my pocket. It's too big and really pokey. So I use something different that I have with me every day. I use my hands. Take your 2 hands and bring them together. Keep your fingertips touching and make the shape of a ball. Then make them flat. That's your very own breathing ball that you can use at any time to help you calm down when you're having big feelings. Let's try it together. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out.
All right, you get the idea. I hope you all took a moment to breathe in and breathe out. And that is one of the brain breaks lessons in Thrively. Now we're going to look at a different one for our more kinesthetic learners. So the first approach you may take is that breathing, the breathing ball. But now this is where you will need a, let's see, you're going to need a pen and a piece of paper. All right, so let's take a look at the blindfolded self-portrait. Okay. All right, everybody, I hope you're ready. You have your pen, you have a pencil, you have a piece of paper in hand. I'm going to do it. So let's close our eyes for about 4 seconds and create our blindfolded self-portrait, and then we'll share it, right, with everybody. All right, so about 3 seconds to do that. So I'm closing my eyes. I hope you're closing yours as well. I'm making my self-portrait. All right, if you're still making yours, maybe put the finishing touches. I can't wait to show you my self-portrait, and I can tell you it felt really good to close my eyes for just a second. I'm gonna, oh, well, there it is. It's delightful. So take a look at yours and just off the screen for a minute, you know, and just taking a moment, close our eyes, relax, and engage in something fun and a little kinesthetic. All right, let's take a look at the next one. This one requires you to do absolutely nothing. So all I need you to do is watch this video with me for just a few, maybe a minute, but just take a look at this and breathe. that felt good. It felt good for me. Let me show you where these live in the Thrively platform. So many of you already use Thrively, so you know that our content is delivered primarily in what we call playlists, just like your Pandora or your Spotify. And the Brain Breaks playlist is here. So if I go into Brain Breaks, you'll see that we have these available for pre-K2, so early elementary, upper, middle, and high school. And I would encourage you when you receive these from us that you explore all of them and don't pay a lot of attention to kind of the whether they're utilized for middle or high school or elementary. I think those that we did were in middle school. So we used the blindfolded self-portrait, but look at all of these that are available to you, as there are 300 minutes of brain breaks for your students. And, so we heard from that research to instruct students for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, give them a break, give them that processing time. But look what we've already done, the blindfolded self-portrait. The pen flipping challenge is a lot of fun, right? There's a do nothing. So you can explore all of these. You can also link these to one of our other core premises, which is that there are many, many ways to be intelligent. And if you look at our multiple intelligences theory, you can track that against the types of brain breaks that might be of interest to our naturalists. They can watch birds hatch in this explore lesson, right? For those who are kinesthetic, right, they can use their fingers. They can do the musical folks can do dances, and there's a cup song. There's so much to explore here. A lot of fun and ways to get folks sometimes, off the screen. Not all are off the screen. There's a dance party. So many great ways to get everybody to just relax. So, hi. Did you have a question?
Yeah, Jane, perfect. They were wondering maybe you could put your headset back in so that they can hear you a little bit better. And then the other one was, as you're thinking about this, the waiter brain break is a good one to show for high school. Maybe you can just show a 10-second clip of that high school one.
Sure.
And then can these be used with distance learning? And how might you use this with distance learning and interacting with the kids? So thoughts about that as we're maybe making our way to the end.
So Joe, absolutely. Can you tell me, are you able to hear me right now?
I can hear you right now. It's just quiet for some of our listeners.
Yeah, I've disconnected these headphones, so because that wasn't working, but I will show you how to use this. So there were a couple of things. So maybe just turn up your volume as well if you can. Thank you. But I wanted to.
Sounds like that's better. Yeah, when you're talking a little bit louder, that's perfect.
I'll just talk loud. I was being very calm and soothing, so that's probably what happened. But you want to show the waiter challenge? Sure.
Yeah, so high school example, and then how might you use this in the virtual learning space where you can interact?
Here is our brain break, and Art's gonna show us the waiter, okay? So he's gonna take it down, kind of in between his arm and his body. He's gonna twist around. Ooh, very nice. Oh, awesome. Great work. Okay, now he's gonna do it the other hand. If he's got that mastered, twist it around under between his arm and his body. Good. Up. Ooh.
Okay, we'll see if we can.
Perfect, Jane.
Right, lots of fun. So someone was asking about middle school and then also, high school and how to utilize these in a synchronous learning environment?
Yeah, exactly. As a virtual, that was a perfect example for high school. And then how might you use this when kids are at home and you're on your Zoom, and how might you use these brain breaks?
Well, I'll tell you, I have to say, I utilize the blindfolded self-portrait all the time in my Zoom professional developments with adults. So any single one of these, as long as you're participating with your students, I think any one of these will work. So even if you're taking a yoga stretch, right? We just share what the yoga stretch, share the video. This is what we're going to do. Now everybody do the yoga stretch. Everybody do the breathing ball. So I would just go ahead and do the 5-minute break. We're going to do the office yoga. So I would explain what that is to my students. And then I would do it myself where they can see me on the video modeling that for them. All right. Joe, are there other questions in the chat? I want to show a couple more playlists that I think are really important here when we're talking about calming the nervous system and those kind of amygdala hijacks. And one, besides understanding our go-to strengths, utilizing brain breaks in Thrively, you can also engage your learners in a clearer exploration of their emotions. And that playlist is called Launching the School Year. And this one is it's so significant. And all the research tells us, we really need to understand the nuances of our feelings. So one of the playlists in the Launching the Year is supporting students in understanding and being able to articulate how they feel. So when that amygdala is getting hijacked, we take the breath, right? We understand our strengths, but still we're having a hard time articulating exactly how we feel. Thrively can help. We're right there with you guys, all of you educators, when our students say, well, I'm feeling bad. Bad what? Well, I guess I'm just feeling angry because I'm mad. I'm really furious about something. So these, being able to articulate our emotions and build our emotional intelligence is obviously key, not just when we're young, but for now as well. And this would be a really great way to start your day, or when you're one-on-one conferencing with someone after you've tried some of the stress reducers, helping students stay calm once they get their head together a little bit more and their heart rate is slowed down. They could take that opportunity to go into Thrively and they can journal on how they're feeling. And you may know that in Thrively, students can journal in text. They can leave an audio recording for you. So right now, how I'm feeling is really, I'm feeling bad because I'm feeling really frustrated. Something didn't turn out the way I wanted and I got really angry. So I could say that in audio. I could share it also in video. You can see my green screen. So I guess, I'm feeling really angry about something. So, and here's what happened. And they start to articulate their feelings. And what you can do is so important, of course, is you can respond to your students as well in text, in audio, or in video, really giving them a big shout out for being able to articulate their emotions so well. And as they build their emotional intelligence, we have all kinds of resources to help them in specific areas of empathy, mindfulness, right? Just kind of keeping our cool. There are many resources in Thrively that can support you as you support your students in building that.
We have about 3 more minutes, and there's a couple critical questions. How might they get access to these playlists, and where do they find them?
Okay. Thank you.
And how to log in. So 3 critical things, where to find them. And obviously we'll be sharing the slide deck and video with you all and our emails, but how to get these playlists.
Okay, so thank you, Joe. The first thing you need to do is create an account. So I put the link in the chat, and maybe Joey, for people who came after, you might need to recopy it, but you go to thrively.com and just go straight to login and join. You can link your Google or Microsoft account. Let me show you how you would do that. It just couldn't be easier, guys. Just get started today. Go straight to Thrively. Go to thrively.com/login and link your Google or Microsoft account to Thrively. From there, right, you'll have an account and you'll want to, at that point, add some students. So from here, you'll see your dashboard, and when you click on your avatar, your image or avatar, go to My Class, and you can see this roster of students. You're going to have one just like that, and it could not be easier for you. Just go to Add Students, and you can add them using your Google Classroom. There's an invite code you can manually add. I'd recommend Google Classroom or the invite code. If you've got an entire district or school, reach out to us and we'll support you with a bulk upload for your students. So as soon as you've done that, you'll get this playlist that we will send to you, the Brain Breaks playlist. And once your students are loaded, now you have an account, you've added your students, and you'll see this little gear icon in the top right corner. Once your students are uploaded, you just assign them here. Pick the class you want to assign it to. You say it's your homeroom. Select all your students, and now every student will have the Brain Breaks playlist. Or again, as I shared with you earlier, you can also use those in a synchronous learning environment. All right. Are there other questions, Joe?
Let me see. Yeah, one of the questions is interesting. I believe the question is not yet. Are there brain breaks tied to specific emotions? I don't think yet. Is that accurate?
Right. No, there aren't brain breaks tied to emotions. The purpose of the brain breaks, but thank you for that great question, is really to calm the amygdala, right? When students are in that fight, flight, or freeze mode, and you will become more familiar with the brain breaks to figure out which are best suited to your particular students. But no.
I know you shared how easy it is to add students as a roster, or you can individually load them up. Do you have to add students to create a playlist, or can you just watch these yourself to start?
You can absolutely just watch these yourself to start. So go to your playlist library, right? If you have an account with Thrively, you'll have access to all of these. If you don't have a pro account with us, right now we will, you can have a free account with Thrively for now, for sure, and we'll send you the Brain Breaks playlist, right? So, but we do hope that you do become a pro member, so you have access to everything. But you'll have the Getting Started playlist, and you'll have the Brain Breaks playlist to start off.
Another good question is, I'm a counselor and I don't have an individual homeroom. How might I create a roster for my kids? Is it pretty simple? Is there an invite code? What does that look like, Jane?
So simple. So you can create a class. So for counselors, you can create your section for your caseload, and then you can just simply add students to it. 2 steps. And we can help you with that too. Yeah.
Perfect. So you just give them that invite code and then kids can log in. Obviously, we do rostering with larger schools, or which allow you to have it automatically rostered within your system. One of the things here is there a support for parents? What if the parent is interested in knowing about their kid? Is there a parent component?
Yeah, absolutely. You can join Thrively as a parent. We would love it. And for schools that want to invite parents, that could not be easier. Just hit the invite parent button, and you can invite parents from the teacher dashboard and also from the student dashboard.
Yeah, so we're just launching the Play Store. So there are individual lessons, and that's just launching right now, individual lessons and courses. So that's one way to get it. The more economical way would be to have get a site license, or the Pro version, which gives you access to all of the content, lessons, project lists, which they haven't seen. And that is, I believe, Jane, is that $99 for the year?
Yes.
Okay, or $4 per kid. Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so $4 per student for the Pro, and you get access to everything, or $99 for a class. And then there's obviously for a school site, there's a different deal for that. Is that accurate?
That's right.
Yeah, confidentiality, things like that. How do we ensure that students' information is confidential, specifically their posts, and who gets to see those?
Absolutely. So the only people who can see their posts are their teachers or people with administrative access. So the site administrators and the student's teacher. And anybody else who, on the school psychologist, a counselor, obviously, and the families. And we're COPA for client, and you can see our privacy statement on our webpage as well.
And let's see. I think this one here. Are students able to complete the initial strengths assessment over multiple days?
Yes.
And how might that take? And can they complete it over multiple days?
Okay, so the strengths assessment takes about 35 to 40 minutes, and students can start and stop at any time. A lot of folks, some students, because it's a lot of fun to take, they'll want to take the whole thing in one sitting, but a lot of students will take it in 15-minute chunks.
Perfect. It looks like there's some on the chat, so I'm going to go over to the chat, which is how do students engage with the journals? And I know you showed that there a little bit. So engaging with the journals, and the purpose of that obviously is to give feedback and to create that belonging and sense of ownership over that process. I know you haven't showed all the other great things like the portfolio and the learner profile, which allows students to tag their highlights and goals, which is interesting. So maybe you can show that, and then I'll look at the other questions here.
Sure. So the journals, so all student work product manifests as a journal. So once they either complete a journal, a reflection, because we know if they will have a piece of content, then they'll reflect. So we know that if students aren't reflecting, they're not learning. There are a lot of opportunities to reflect, and we refer to those as journals. So they can remember they can do that in text, in audio, or in video, and you'll find those here in journals, right? You can also create a journal yourself. If you have like a daily quick write, maybe you're going to utilize that incredible emotions wheel every single day to do a check-in with your students, and you do a daily quick write here, and you can respond to their journals really right here in your journal using this journal icon.
Okay. Another couple questions. When you don't have your individual class, is it easy to create a cohort of students? And that's through that invite code.
Oh, definitely. So if you don't have an individual class, like you mean like creating a club, like expanded learning time kind of opportunity, you can create in any kind of class. If that's the question, Joe, if you go to manage class, you can you can create a class section. If it's a special section, maybe it's a pullout for restorative justice or, for whatever group you have. So you can create classes sections within sections.
I apologize, Stephanie, a little bit more context. Stephanie was asking, are students able to see who else is in the class? I understand your privacy statement for the part of confidentiality, but in my role, students don't always want it to be known that they are meeting with the counselor. So do students know who's in a particular class?
No, they don't. And the only way that you can know, here's what they do, they can find out. They
It
can
might be helpful to show it on a student. Do you want to show a student side? Because you're showing the teacher side. You want to show the student side so they can see that, what it looks like.
Let me do that in just a second. So one of the things that your students can see, however, are the students who share their strengths. Okay, so there is a way for that's for us to understand which students share their strengths. Joe, I'm sorry, you were asking, can students see one another? Yes, so only if you assign a project. So if you assign a project in Thrively, right, hold on just a second. If you assign a project in the platform, students will be able to see the students who are assigned to that same project. Right. So otherwise, they do not see.
It would have to be in a project tool side, right? Which is a whole nother side of the Thrively. But when they're in a lesson, they just see their lessons.
They just see their lessons. So they're not, unless you specifically wish for those students to be in a group, they're not grouped.
Perfect.
Right? They're not seeing one another.
It was a great question from one of our participants. I support special education in K-5. Do students take the assessments independently or with adult support?
Great question. Our pre-K-5 students take the assessment with their families. Let me show you what that looks like. So our assessment was the industry first, designed by pediatric neuropsychologists, and they have, let's see, let me show you what their recommendation is, that we have the families administer the assessment. And it is a lot of fun. It's a great way to bring families together, but it could not be easier. You just select the student that you're going to have the family administer the assessment to, and the instructions are right here. The assessment is available in pre-K-5 and the 3 through 12 version in English and in Spanish.
Jane, here's a great question. I call them Thrively passion points. It's ways that students engage with Thrively and showcase things that they're working on. Can you talk to us about the numerical scores right there in their Thrively profile?
Are you talking about these?
Yeah, the little in the circle. It shows their, yeah. It's their participation in completion and right. So you want to talk that through a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So what we're supporting is the intrinsic value of learning. So there are no points per se that would correspond to a grade, but there are passion points. And that's what we get excited about. Our kids excited and passionate about what they're learning. So we will give you this easy dashboard. You can download it into a CSV file if you needed to put it in your roll book, but this is just a quick way for you to check in and see how and to what extent students are engaging. But really significantly too, they have that ability, right, on their own, right, as well. So they can always check, right? We want students to own their data. And you see all of their assessments in here. You see their goals, right? Their highlights towards progress towards their goals. And you also can see, students can also see, right, their own learning journey. So this is Anna's learning journey. So we want them to really own that and get excited about everything that they're accomplishing in the platform so they can keep track of it as well as you.
I love one of these, the comments is, do you recommend that we as practitioners take the strengths assessment and play around with it first? I know I have. I've seen some really interesting things, like I like to think through pictures. And so definitely, what would your recommendation be about our participants taking the strengths assessment themselves?
Oh, please, everybody. I hope you've already created an account. And the first thing that you'll do is you'll take the strengths assessment. When you take it as you are right now as an adult. Just change the context from classmate to colleague and take it. And I know you're going to be excited by what you see. It's pretty accurate. It's a lot of fun too. Plus, you'll see what the student experience is. But come to your teaching environment, with your educator environment, wherever you are, administrator, come to that environment with your strengths so that you can share that with your students. So here's Jean, so this would be you, and here's her assessment. She's taken that, you can share that with the students in your room as well, or in your school or district.
Jane, wonderful. I know we have maybe a final poll because we want to see what other topics would be of interest to our participants. We had over 350 join today, so we still have 190 on the call. Do you want to push up? Is there a poll that you'd like us to share around topics of interest that we can engage in?
I would. Let me grab the poll. And
while you're there, I think I'll show my face. So, oh, no, I have the Thrively, Team Thrively photo. There you go.
Thank you so much. So if you would share with us what sounds interesting, just pick your top one. There are 150 of us in the room, so I'm excited to see what you would like to see in our future webinars. Nice.
Are they coming in?
They're coming in. So they're coming in really rapidly. I love it. Trauma-informed practice strategies right now is on our.
Yeah, you're able to show the poll, right? Where you can, once you close it, maybe give people about 15 more seconds. And while they're waiting, Jane, I heard there's some good news. So yes, there's a pro version, but those who participated today, any opportunities for them to actually dig into the brain breaks?
Absolutely. So you're going to get a coupon code for the Brain Breaks playlists. So by all means, start using them tomorrow. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this poll.
All right, drum roll, please, I guess, right?
To share the results.
There we are.
So take a look, everyone. Okay, Genius Hour for everybody. Synchronous learning time, trauma-informed practice, and positive behavior supports.
Yeah, Jane, we have a couple great lessons and playlists for virtual learning. I think that might be an interesting one for us to dig into, right? Looks like.
Absolutely.
Trauma-informed practices. I know you're doing a lot of great work around that as well. So it's fantastic. So it looks like it gives us some opportunity. Positive behavior supports.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you.
We want to make sure that everybody can start getting ready for their Thanksgiving break. We'll stay on the line if anyone wants to ask a question. But Jane, that was amazing. So thank you so much. Any final closing thoughts?
I just want to say thank you to everybody. And I hope I can tell you, I started using these brain breaks in professional development. I encourage you to use them with your peers, use them for yourselves as well. And just know, it's like this is the time for us to share these incredible resources with our learners and give them these, additional skills. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for everything you do. And I also wish you a wonderful holiday wherever you are in the world.